So first of all, who are you?
Okay, so I'm Marco Tempest. I'm a cyber illusionist, which means I combine magic and science to create illusions. And this is my New York City magic lab where I kind of develop all my stuff. Like, so here, for example...
And I came here because I saw you on the TED video and I loved what you did. I was like, wow, that is so cool.
Oh, thank you very much. So here is a Kinect thing, and actually, let me show you how this looks like. So everybody is doing stuff with the Kinect, and now it actually grabbed your skeleton. So if you wanna step in the screen, so this is attaching particles to your hands. This is for so if you move your hands around like a superhero. Exactly. Yeah. Perfect. So this is something I'm working on. It's going to be a piece about storytelling and magic, and so I'm going to be in this virtual environment and stuff appears and disappears around me. And this is kind of a proof of concept. So here we see yourself. Okay, so here we see the depth image, then the RGB image, the cutout version of the person, which then gets keyed on, and then the skeleton tracking, which now just became active, which creates the particles. So this is just kind of a preview of what things might be in a couple of months from now.
So when you say you're a cyber illusionist, for people who haven't seen the TED video, you played with, I think, 3 iPhones.
Right.
And you did all sorts of magic tricks on the iPhones.
Right, and I can probably set that up for you really quick. It takes a few minutes to start up. So I use iPods, and I use video projection, and I use augmented reality, which I can show you in just a moment as well. And what I try to do is I try to come up with my own tools. So I collaborate with people mostly out of the open source community, and we create all these tools, and some of them I make available for other artists so they can start a little later in the process and kind of get to the poetry faster.
And it looks like you've been into traditional magic as well, right?
Right, this is actually from some Japanese TV show where a card in a movie theater appeared on all the movie posters. So it's a little bit corny, but it's kind of a ghost from the past.
What got you into magic?
I started at a super early age, and then in the mid-90s or so I had this idea of using a computer to do magic and interact with the computer. And I was very fortunate. It was the time where Steve Jobs actually founded Next Computers. Yeah. So I made the next wave of magic, and they gave me a box, a Next Cube, and I started creating stuff, and I realized, oh, there's not even video playback on computers. Back then there was no QuickTime and nothing. So I had a Next Cube on stage with a screen and a VHS tape player behind it, which kind of mimicked the interaction and touch screens and things like that. And since then, kind of technology has evolved, and with it I try to evolve with it, and now here we are with touch screens and voice recognition and pattern recognition and face tracking, and so I use all these fun things in my work.
What is magic?
Magic is, well, you could say it's the willing suspension of disbelief. So you need an audience who's willing to kind of dive into that sense of wonder and believe what they see and take it with a smile and maybe not too much question what's going on in front of them. So it's an interactive thing. It needs an audience willing and a guy who's nice enough to show it to them.
Yeah. And do you reveal your secrets?
Sometimes I do, like with these technological stuff.
Because most magicians don't, right? That's sort of a code of ethics.
Right, yeah, the code of ethics. Absolutely, and I think what's happening now is, and I experiment a lot with YouTube. It's like where maybe for the past like 60 years or so, it was like the content which was really important. You just had like something, you produced it or overproduced it, put it on TV, and that was fine for your audience. I think right now it's much more contextual. So what you put up there is more a conversation starter. So I put something up and they say, hey, how do you guys like it? And then of course people will reveal the magic because they can rewind the video as many times as they want, or they can comment and talk to each other. But I think that's somewhat fine. It's like the if my content can start a conversation, then that's already much, much better than just, hey, look at me, how cool I am, or something of that sort, which is kind of the old model.
Yeah. I always assumed that magicians were hackers, but hackers of our pattern recognizing system. Our brains are pattern recognition systems, right? We can look at a tree and instantly know it's a tree. The computer has to look at that for several minutes before it really knows it's a tree.
Right. I say Edward de Bono argues that our brains are just pattern matching machines, and so the magician kind of leads people down a path, and everything looks very similar, and everything is very, very ordinary, but there's like a veneer of disguise which covers all these like magic things we do when things look very normal. So the laziness of the brain by looking at stuff and looking for similarities helps magicians a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is, there's right now neuroscience and magic are like kind of have this marriage where magicians pretend to know everything about neuroscience and neuroscientists pretend to know everything about magic. I don't think neuroscience is all that far yet, and I don't think magicians really scientifically know what they're doing. It comes out of experience and
here's one example. I heard that if your eye is moving from point A to point B, it actually is blind, and that's why magicians try to redirect your attention somewhere while they're doing a sleight of hand trick, right? Because they can do something with their hands, and while your eye is moving from here to here, it's a little bit blind, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that sort of
there's something, and there's also like something we call like big movements cover little movements. So let's say I have to do something and I don't want you to see it. While I do this, I just move my hand in a bigger motion, and the small movement will disappear. So bigger movements cover small movements. There's something called change blindness. There's some really cool videos online. There's this psychologist in the UK, Richard Wiseman, which does all this stuff, like with the invisible gorilla and things changing around him. And so there's a lot of very cool psychological stuff out there for people who are interested.
Yeah. A lot of magic today is performance, right? Because it's girls on stage, entertainment, music, flame, fire, all the fun stuff that goes into a great performance, right?
Right. Yeah, I think it's like at the end of the day, it is show business, and I think now for magicians these days, it's kind of they have to resituate themselves and see who they want to be, because at the end of the day, you really want to like this person on stage. So I don't know how likable or mass appeal there is for a guy wearing tails, or for a guy who has a wind machine and a smoke machine and stands there and strikes a pose, or how I think it's like the internet. Everything becomes more inclusive, more open, more close, so more normal. We stop dressing up and we dress down to reach our audience and engage them.
So how do you start a magic trick? I mean, we've seen the TED video, so let's start with that. How did that start, and how did you get to the story that you told in that video?
Well, in the TED video, I made this piece of software which synchronizes videos across multiple screens of mobile devices, and maybe I could start this up really quick. So
that was the most fascinating thing I've seen. Well done.
So the idea was that there's this piece of software which might help artists to create stuff with videos, because playing multiple screens can be very expensive. So the easiest way to do it is have an iPod and connect it to a TV screen. So I created this piece of software. It's called Multivid. It's available for free at the App Store, and people can synchronize videos or use it for presentations. And it does some fancy stuff. It does like endpoint behaviors in playlists, so you can have loop things and stuff moves around. So I wanted to show something. I wanted to show how this could be used in a performance environment. So let me start this up really quick. So basically what it is there's an
can I show these?
Yeah, sure. So there's a controller which just discovered these 4 devices, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can now start video synchronized on all devices. So they pretend to be iPods now, but actually this is a video frame. And here's my little teleprompter which tells me what comes next. And here's the smiley face which kind of tells me chill out, have fun with it. Don't be nervous because this is kind of there's a lot of stuff going on. So I can start this, and then it's basically, it's not really set up with all the props, but it's I can show the beginning. It's a story about deception. So there's very little magic in it, and it starts like this. I can say, well, one of my favorite magicians. Okay, let's do deception. One of my favorite magicians is Karel Čapek. He had this wonderful trick where a rose bush would bloom right in front of your eyes. But it was his production of a butterfly that was the most beautiful. And then here, with a little bit of magic, a real butterfly appears in the stage version. So here would be a butterfly, which is now invisible. Now, when he was asked about magic and magicians, he said this.
Magic is the only honest profession. A magician promises to deceive you, and he does.
And so it continues on and on. So that was kind of an experiment on how to use this, and actually to kind of go away from doing a big magic trick. So there are no iPods disappearing or swarms of butterflies, or it's really kind of about the layer of the story, of talking about deception and what it means to people, and is lying good or bad? Is there a good way of lying, or these kind of questions? So like a conversation starter.
Yep.
And then of course I want to have it more technical, so now I made this touch screen thing where when I move the screens around on them, they look cooler, right?
Oh, nice.
So this is kind of not really sure yet how this will look like, so it's just like playing around with visual quality. So this could be a really nice way to kind of accentuate, and then maybe have graphics from below. And then maybe there's a projector which projects onto my hand. So there's
Now the TED video was just one video all the way through, and it didn't react to your touch, or did it?
It didn't react to my touch.
Yeah.
It did in the beginning, but then I was so concerned with like being at TED with like a gazillion Wi-Fi networks. So I was just worried that I might have communication problems. So I kept it simple and kind of mimed through the piece.
Yeah.
I can show you something which is very interactive in
But your
concept.
hands are very fast. We watched it again last night, and you were right on time. So that took some practice. Didn't
Yeah, it took a little bit of practice. Let me show you this. So this is kind of
the hard work of magic that you don't see on stage, right?
So this is
the
kind
hundreds of hours of
this is
practice.
kind of the opposite of a self-working system. So what this does is there's an infrared camera on the floor there with a projector which can track this canvas. So the video image sticks on the canvas. You see there's a video image which moves around, and
that.
also have kind of a
It's right there
follow
on the screen.
spot.
On the screen.
So-
Yeah, I see. Yep.
And then I can do things like, for example, I can draw on it, and then I can like explode whatever I draw into particles and have them go to somewhere happier.
That's insane.
And it's a little and there's a drawing system as well, so I can draw something.
You're gonna ruin everybody's TED Talk. That's what you're gonna. Look at this.
I forgot the floor. Let me try that. So this is kind of a digital storytelling tool. Hello. Hey. Come over here. And then it reacts to like to movements and such. Hey. Come over here.
That is awesome.
So this is kind of, it's very modular again. It has like a 2D particle engine. You can load objects so they look like holograms and stick to the front when you move the canvas. And you can draw not only free but also into masks. So here's a little mask I can draw into. And then it has like the usual things which magicians love to use. Okay, come over here.
Now, how much of this is you knowing what's coming next, and how much of
a lot of it
actually
is
interacting?
me knowing what's coming on, and then kind of
Yeah.
oh now he needs something to step on, so that's kind of my jump and run platform game. So the secret here is I track in real time, so I can move this in real time. But then also there are these infrared LED tracking markers in the back, which are battery operated, a remote control, some magnets. So there's kind of the tools of a magician combined with a little bit of science.
You're gonna raise the bar for everybody's TED Talk. That's what you're doing.
Thank
So
you.
we're gonna see this at Le Web?
That's definitely going to be part of my talk at Le Web. And at Le Web, I also show a little bit on kind of how I deal with the audiences online, like my viewers, how I manage my YouTube channel, and kind of the experiments I run online. And there's going to be other stuff. So there's going to be some augmented reality and some and a little bit about creativity and how to get there and not be overwhelmed.
Very cool. Really neat.
Thank you.
Really neat. And you got a stack of awards. What are all these awards over here?
Oh, these are kind of, some are from magicians. So this is, let me see, that's the World Magic Award for Best Contemporary Magician. That's the Merlin Award. So magicians like to give awards. But then there's also, I dabble a little bit in television. I love graphics design. So I created my own television series and kind of sold it into 60 plus markets. So that's a tally for graphic design, there's some for the music and some for the tricks. So these are not really all that hard to get. They're not Academy Awards.
$20 on eBay, right? Congrats on all of. What's this thing?
Yeah, let me show you this. So this is I always wanted to do. Let me get a fresh deck of cards. I always wanted to do something where I could. Do something with playing cards and actually show audience members how it would be if they could have a glimpse into the mind of a magician when he does something as simple as a trick with playing cards. And the way I did this, or try to do this, is with this contraption. This is a super inexpensive PlayStation 3 camera. Yeah. So this project is very much designed so students can kind of do it at home. So it uses some open source software like the OpenCV, Intel computer vision library. So this is how it works. So here is the real-time view. Let's pick a card and let's mark it so we recognize it when we see it again. And I know you're really big on Google Plus, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's put the card into the deck just like this, and let's give the cards just a quick cut. Alright, so for those who don't play cards, a deck of cards is made of 4 different suits. There's hearts, clubs, there's sound with this too, not really, diamonds, and spades. So we have this like little augmentation of the cards, they get recognized. So performing magic is always about these multiple layers of reality combining. Now each of the 4 suits corresponds to one of the 4 seasons. So there's spring, summer, fall, and winter. Now my favorite season is winter, because winter is like magic, involves visual wonder, drastic change, and a delicate balance between its physical states. Now in each of the 4 suits there's a total of 13 cards, and they represent the 13 lunar cycles. So let me see if I can get the lunar cycles going. Total fail, demo fail. Let me show you. Okay, that didn't work.
You'll get it working by the
so
web, right?
Here's one I really love. These are the supernatural forces. So you can put 3 cards down, and then this is very cool because we do background extraction. We cover the background. We photograph the cards, have them fly, and then go back to the real cards. There's one which is very cool, which, let me go out of sequence so this goes a little quicker. I love this one a lot. These are the 2 jokers. Here we can actually recognize the jokers and then have them come alive. Hello. How you doing? Let me see what you got. Oh, pogo stick, watch out. Oh no.
Wow.
So this is kind of another storytelling routine, which ends with the card which we signed for no reason at the beginning. So the card appears and disappears throughout the story, and it's about magic and cards.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yay!
And then there's always stuff in my studio which is kind of unfinished. This is a neural net learning robot which can interact really close to humans from this Swiss company which gave it to me. So I'm playing with this and kind of creating a routine where he's kind of interacting with me. This is a prototype of a super high speed prosumer camera. So I'm working together with another Swiss company which does industrial vision high-speed cameras, and we took a little bit of the noise reduction library of the Mars rover and made a noise reduction algorithm for this camera, which works really, really well. And now this camera outputs like cinema quality, high speed at like 1,000 frames.
So poor man's Phantom.
It's a poor man's Phantom, and I have on my Vimeo channel. I have a bunch of movies I made with this. It's super awesome. It's gonna be below 10 grand when it finally comes out.
That's awesome because the Phantom is like 200 grand.
Right.
So, did you see at the Austin City Limits film music festival they blew up a water balloon?
Yeah, it's super awesome. Yeah, super awesome. There's a thing inspired by clean rooms. I was visiting this factory where they make these computer chips in these absolute clean rooms where everybody wears like hoodies and stuff. So somebody challenged me, said, well, could you do something in a hermetically sealed environment? So this is kind of something I'm working on right now. It uses multiple cameras to show it from every side, and then I kind of stick my hand and it makes things disappear and reappear, and kind of in a sealed environment. So there's always a lot of stuff which is kind of not really ready, but in the works.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Well, it's going to be fun seeing you at Le Web, and thanks for spending a little bit of time showing us some of the technology and magic.
Thank you.
Where do we find you on the web?
MarcoTempest.com, and I tweet a little bit, which would be Virtual Magician. That's
Okay.
my
Are you on Google Plus yet?
I'm on Google Plus.
Yeah, and Facebook.
And Facebook, but like Google Plus, it seems like it's. I like the quality of discussions going on there. It seems like people say a little more than I'm hungry, or I'm landing in Boston, or oh wow, this looks cool. So the engagement is just really, really amazing. I think what's happening on Google Plus. So I think we're all gonna eventually.
I told you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully you don't make me disappear now. So.
Yeah. Hello everyone. Let me introduce you to something I've been working on. It's what the Victorian Illusionists would have described as a mechanical marvel, an automaton, a thinking machine. Say hello to Eddie. He's asleep, let's wake him up. Eddie. These mechanical performers were popular throughout Europe. Audiences marveled at the way they moved. It was science fiction made true, robotic engineering in a pre-electronic age. Machines far in advance of anything that Victorian technology could create. A machine we would later know as the robot.
Robot, a word coined in 1921 in a science fiction tale by the Czech playwright Karel Čapek. It comes from robota. It means
forced labor.
But these robots were not real. They were not intelligent. They were illusions, a clever combination of mechanical engineering and the deceptiveness of the conjurer's art. Eddie is different. Eddie is real.
I am 176 centimeters tall.
He weighs 300 pounds.
I have two 7-axis arms.
Torque sensing.
a 360-degree sonar detection system, and come complete with a warranty.
We love robots.
Hi, I'm Eddie. Will you be my friend?
We are intrigued by the possibility of creating a mechanical version of ourselves. We built them so they look like us, behave like us, and think like us. The perfect robot will be indistinguishable from the human, and that scares us. In the first story about robots, they turn against their creators. It's one of the leitmotifs of science fiction.
Now you are the slaves, and we robots, the masters. Your world is ours. You.
As I was saying, besides the faces and bodies we give our robots, we cannot read their intentions. And that makes us nervous. When someone hands an object to you, you can read intention in their eyes, their face, their body language. That's not true of the robot. Now, this goes both ways.
Wow!
Robots cannot anticipate human actions.
You know, humans are so unpredictable, not to mention irrational. I literally have no idea what you guys are gonna do next, but it scares me.
Which is why humans and robots find it difficult to work in close proximity. Accidents are inevitable.
Ow! That hurt!
Sorry. Now, one way of persuading humans that robots are safe is to create the illusion of trust. Much as the Victorians faked their mechanical marvels, we can add a layer of deception to make us feel more comfortable with our robotic friends. With that in mind, I set about teaching Eddie a magic trick. Are you ready, Eddie?
Ready, Marco. Abracadabra.
Abracadabra?
Yeah, it's all part of the illusion, Marco. Come on, keep up.
Magic creates the illusion of an impossible reality. Technology can do the same. Alan Turing, a pioneer of artificial intelligence, spoke about creating the illusion that a machine could think.
A computer would deserve to be called intelligent if it deceived a human into believing it was human.
In other words, if we not yet have the technological solutions, would illusions serve the same purpose? To create the robotic illusion, which devises a set of ethical rules, a code that all robots would live by.
A robot may not harm humanity, or by inaction, allow humanity to come to harm. Thank you, Isaac Asimov.
We anthropomorphize our machines. We give them a friendly face and a reassuring voice.
I am Eddie. I became operational at TED in March 2014.
We let them entertain us. Most important, we'll make them indicate that they are aware of our presence.
Marco, you're standing on my foot.
Sorry. They'll be conscious of our fragile frame and move aside if we got too close. And they'll account for our unpredictability and anticipate our actions. And now, under the spell of a technological illusion, we could ignore our fears and truly interact. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it. Thank you very much, and thank you, Eddie.
And thank you, Marco.
Hi, I'm Eddie. Will you be my friend? See, I would love this to be different. Can we change? Is it too late to change? This is such an unsophisticated way to meet people. I would love to say, hi, I'm Eddie, which stands for Electronic Deceptive Intelligence, huh? See, that's a little bit more grown up, don't you think? I think that'll have a big impact on people. Is the whole friendly thing, I don't know. We've kind of seen that.
Machines and humans have worked together over generations and a very long time. But whereas previously they mainly provided muscle, the big changes now are increasing the capabilities of machines to augment our mental capabilities, to help us do things that were unimaginable before. And it's this move from muscle to brain power that's been facilitated by Moore's law, by the growth of machine intelligence, the exponential growth over the last 50 years or so, and this is predicted to continue. The financial crisis was a graphic demonstration of leaping technology and data deluge. Too much data, the inability to discern what was important. The best and most joined up systems exist in finance, the best people, certainly the most highly paid people, yet they were unable to prevent the crisis. So we need to ensure that this system has integrity, that we don't see it as bugged, but bugged in a big way, in a way that challenges our trust of it. Not only because the cyber system is corrupted, but also because we think that it's not trustworthy, that we cannot rely on handing over to machine intelligence, that we cannot allow it to come into our lives. We've seen how this has developed. Robots have taken a lot of human jobs, and we know that this will continue. One of our groups has estimated that perhaps 47% of existing jobs will be taken by machines. But in the same time, this creative destructive process has created whole swathes of new employment. Apps, the development of it, and the services industry, which now account for large parts of our economy. We do not necessarily see jobs taking away from full employment. We can imagine full employment with machine intelligence. But it's not going to happen by accident. It has to happen by design of our institutions, and of course education systems. The ability not only to do mass online education, but to ensure that we have the capabilities of reskilling, so we don't get this generational divide, with young people feeling comfortable with it, and elderly people disconnected and increasingly left out and not trusting the system, unable to bank because they can't go online. We also need to understand, as in genome sequencing and other areas, how this will invade every dimension of our lives. It can lead to huge improvements, and we see the ways that will happen. But there could be a health divide on this. Those that don't have access to sequencing technology, so those that cannot be enhanced, will fall farther behind. We can meet many other great challenges. The smart metering technologies, our interfaces on energy use, on the optimization around our homes, could greatly reduce our carbon footprints. And there are many other areas of our lives where, augmented by machine intelligence, we would be able to do things much more effectively in a smarter way. We know that machines can be smarter than humans. Garry Kasparov, our friend, found this out in his challenge with Deep Blue. And that's now been surpassed in recent experiments where even greater levels with Jeopardy were surpassed. But machines can't do what humans can do. And my colleagues will demonstrate some of these things. We can't download our brains yet. We can't download wisdom, sensitivity, judgment, tenderness. These are things which we'll become even better at. So how do we hand over what we can and not allow machines to rule us, to make sure that they are our slaves, not the other way around? This relationship's crucial around the world. Health, and this is a slide of health workers sinking in a developing country in Africa, requires not only the overcoming of the digital divide of the technologies, so there's wireless, but also the skills and the aptitudes. And this can happen in many, many other areas. It can lead, as we've seen, to leapfrogging. But we need to tell the machines what to do. We need to make sure we understand the capabilities and that the big brother state does not invade it before we understand it. So a much higher level of awareness is required, a much higher level of capability and trust and integrity in the system. Cyber systems, but also those that manage cyber systems. And you'll get some flavor of that. The question I'd like to discuss with the group is how do we achieve this interdependence, which is harmonious rather than destructive for society? Thank you.